Donald Trump is costing everyone money. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So apparently his trade war with China has already been costing the American household about $600 each household, regardless of your economic standing. But now, if he continues with his plans to levy more tariffs on China with U.S. imports, I think at an estimated 300 billion, it could cost the average American U.S. household $1,000 per year.
Wow.
It's according to J.P. Morgan.
Yes.
And listen, Donald Trump is, of course he's lying, but he tells the American people, okay, like this trade war will not affect you at all. We're going to be okay. It's going to be a great Christmas gift for us. We're going to make China, pay us back, even though they own our debt. So I don't really understand how that works, but let's keep it moving. He's like, yeah, it'll be great. But all the economic analysts are saying, no, actually, the American people are going to lose a lot more money. And when we lose a lot more money, the economy goes into free fall. When the economy goes into free fall, people lose jobs, which means like bread lines and things like that. So I'm really trying to figure out where he's going and what his standing is. Like, I'm telling you right now, once the economy slips, Donald Trump's presidency is done. Like, regardless of the lies he's told, once the economy slips, because that was his promise. He says, I'm going to be great for the economy. I'm going to make sure we have jobs, co-workers are going to have jobs again, and things like that. Mind you, on Monday evening, it was reported on CNN that they were going to cut at least 100 steelworker jobs at a plant in, I think it was in Michigan.
Yeah.
So if we're thinking about, all what he's standing on, the platform that he's running on, once the economy falls, he's gone.
He is. And I think the American people need to know exactly how this affects them, because so many times as we watch so many of these things, sometimes it goes over our head and they don't think that it's going to affect them. But I think we have a clip to run. Let's play this clip. It's going to explain a lot, and then we'll be back with some more remarks.
President Trump is threatening more tariffs on Chinese exports to the United States. This time, a 10% levy on a further $300 billion worth of goods. This means virtually anything made in China will now be taxed on entry into the United States. Items that until now have avoided tariffs, which instead targeted goods purchased by companies with international supply chains.
There's been absolutely no inflation, and frankly, it hasn't cost our consumer anything.
Not true. The data shows average households did pay more last year, and now it could get worse. Why? Because these new tariffs target things Americans buy every day. Things like smartphones, toys, clothes, shoes. And to be clear, if you're wondering who actually pays the tariff, it's not China, contrary to the president's assertions.
Our country is taking in billions and billions of dollars from China.
Nope. It's the US company that imports Chinese goods that pays the tariff, not China. Now, some Chinese manufacturers might decide to help out and share that cost, but normally it's the US firm that pays the tariff bill. And many firms will then pass that cost on to the US consumer by charging higher prices.
We paid $3 billion in duties last year, and we know for a fact that as prices go up, the consumer will be hit. And so if you think about the consumer being hit on every single consumer good, this will be a death by 1,000 cuts for American consumers here at home.
That's why one analyst predicts Apple could sell 6 to 8 million fewer iPhones next year. When prices go up, sales go down. And that's the real threat to the US economy from this latest round of tariffs. The American consumer has been propping up this economy, showing resilience in the face of the escalating trade battle. But if everyday goods get more expensive and the consumer then starts to pull back, the longest US economic expansion in history could be in trouble.
So there is no doubt that this is going to affect the American people as we watch the trade war go on between the U.S. and China. And though Tribulation Trump is making all kind of claims stating that this is not going to affect the American consumer, it is going to affect. We've spoken about the analysts saying that a recession is going to take place. It doesn't matter who's in presidency, it's going to happen. It's been throughout the history of the United States of America because it certainly won't be the first time. But I will say this again, because we are in the midst of the tribulation, we are going to see things and hear things that we have never seen before. And so when the next recession does happen, because it's not a question of if it happens, it's just a matter of when it happens, it's going to be as some have claimed, brutal, and that will go in line with the fact that we are in the midst of the tribulation. Esther, any thoughts?
Yeah, just a basic. I think that a lot of American people, especially Trump voters and Trump supporters, have this idea that Donald Trump protecting our economy or trying to protect our country from the relationships that we have with other countries is going to help our country become stronger. But honestly, because our economies are so intertwined, like we're so connected to each other, separating us from them now, especially in the midst of Brexit and then all of the political turmoil happening in Italy, this happening now could literally send us into economic freefall.
Absolutely.
In the next like maybe 4 to 5 months.
Yes.
So like before Christmas, we could literally be looking at the worst recession that I think we've ever seen. I think it would be, I honestly could say it'd be worse than the Great Depression.
Yeah, and it will be, and so again, I would encourage people to make your investments here in this house, because you know that your investments are going towards the glory of the Lord.
This is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting, rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.